Precious, this is Sheila. Today is our Glitter Queen blog hop, and the theme today is Fall Fun Fold Fantastic Blog Hop with the Glitter Queen. So let's go ahead and show you the project that we're going to be doing and get started. All right, so here's my pop-up corner card and my fall design. And when you open it up, it pops open, and this is what you get when you see it. Isn't that precious? Okay, so we're going to do this, and later on, not on this particular film, but later on, watch my blog or my videos, and you'll be seeing some Christmas ones like this as well. So let's go ahead. I'm using today this designer paper. I am just so in love with it. It's the in our new catalog, and yay, we can order from it now in our holiday catalog. Come Together Design Series paper. And in it, I'll show you just real quick because it's got so many pretty paper. And a couple of them that I decided I would color. That's where I'll show you in the card again when I bring it over. But like, for example, this design is what I'm using here on the card. You'll see it at the front here, and I've colored the pumpkin on them. And then in the strip here, I've done the same thing to just kind of back it up. And then we have this beautiful wood grain, which I always love the wood grains. And then we have this mint macaron background, also with the pumpkins, and this will be gorgeous colored as well, or left like it is. And here are some of our other pieces. Beautiful colors. Love the pretty peacock that they brought into these fall colors as well. So let's set this aside. All right, so today let me get my supplies out. I tried to get as many of the items kind of prepped before this because I wasn't sure how long the entire video was, and I really wanted most of this to be about how we put the card together, okay? But one of the first things we need to do is I stamped out of, let me show you the stamp sets we're using. This is Gather Together. So I punched out this leaf 2 times to make one's going this way and one's going this way in my inside of my card. And I stamped it with the Early Espresso, and then I sponged around with the pretty peacock to get this design. But what we're going to do next, and then I'll go on with the rest of this because I want to get this drying, is I'm using some of our champagne, and I don't know if y'all have done this before, but it's a lot of fun to use this way. But I'm using our champagne mist all-purpose ink, and we want to shake it up real good. And then I'm going to bring out one of my clear blocks. And what I'm going to be doing is tipping the edges first, and then probably bringing in a little bit of the shimmer into this particular leaf, and I want it to dry before we assemble, so that's why I'm doing it first. So we're just going to put a little drop on. That's about all we need. I love these. I use so much of this mixtures of alcohol for spritzing in both the Frosted White and the Champagne Mist. So don't forget those particular items when you're shopping in our catalog, because they really add some beautiful accents to your pieces. So I'm getting pulled some scrap paper over here, and I'm just going to kind of tip the edges where it's blue, because it will turn my piece blue, or my dauber blue, and that's okay for right now. But then I'm going to want to take probably some of it to the inside, so I'll want to clean that off a little bit so it won't. But I'm going to bring this up and see if you can see the shimmer on that. I don't know if you can catch it in the camera, but I hope so, because my lighting's not quite as good on the top as it is down here. Let's go ahead and do the other side. And I did use the shimmery white cardstock. I use it a lot when I'm doing any kind of coloring or shimmering like this, that I want that extra sturdiness of the paper, as well as the shimmer effect that they give. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to kind of daub in here, because again, I want to leave that little bit of a glow of color there. So I really don't want to get too much of a blue tinge going on there. And that's why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it here, okay? And most of the time you can wipe most of the ink colors off that you're using. Oh, that's gorgeous. So let's set them over here and let them be drying while we do the rest of it. Okay, so for our front area, I'm cutting, this will be, when we get to the base, which I'll go through the scoring, that piece will be 4.5 by 4.25 by 4.25 on all of your dividing lines. And so what I did was to make this piece 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. And then I brought in the Cajun Craze, and that one measures 4 by 4. And then I brought in the DSP, which is 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. And I went ahead and colored, and that's what you see here. I went ahead and colored all of the pumpkins except for one, because I did want to kind of show you how I did that. And you can see the difference of what it is when it's colored and before it was colored. And again, I just think that it just pops off the page with these colors on it, and I love the effects and how it came out. So for my yellow, to get my highlight, I'm using the dark daffodil. And this particular pumpkin probably won't show when we put it together, but I'm going to go ahead and color it anyway, because I'm always fearful that one area that I don't color might pop up when I go to assemble it. So I always like to just color everything. And then we're going to use both our pumpkin. I'm starting off with my light pumpkin pie, and we're going to color around the top of it. And I leave that center for just a little bit, and then I come back and we'll blend a little bit of the light pumpkin pie over it so it's not quite so stark. But I want to do my other shadings with my dark pumpkin pie and my light pumpkin pie before we do that. So now I'm going to bring in my shading, and I'm using kind of the other, not the blend tip, but the thinner tip on it. And I'm kind of doing the streak lines, kind of the motion of the way the lines are going. I thought it helped to blend the colors a little bit better by doing that. And we're going to bring even some into the lighter shades there as well. And then we're going to come back with our light, and I want to blend these shades here as I am. And then I just lightly, and I'm so very lightly touching the color over my yellow highlight. But doesn't that come out gorgeous like that? Okay. So the other thing that I like to do, again, I love my sparkle. So I'm going to bring in some of my Wink of Stella, and just kind of go over these real quick. And while they're drying, we'll start to assemble some of the cardstock on the back. But what we'll do first is and we'll have to color that. I use the light Pretty Peacock to color the stems, just keeping the colors coordinated with what's on the designer paper. So let me real quickly put that color in. Here's my light Peacock. So I just go in there and I just kind of touch on it and bring it in, and then finish off this one with the Wink of Stella. But I just was amazed when we were asked to, given our theme of what we were going to do this month in our Glitter Queen blog hop, and they said fall. I hadn't gotten my fall items in from the holiday catalog yet, so I hurried them in. And so this was kind of a quick put together here. All right, so I'm going to use a little bit of my, I think we can move this out of the way. Well, I'll keep it there in case we get a little bit of the glue. It'll not get onto the pretty paper. Okay, so we're going to layer this on. And remember, we only have about a 1/16 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch around, so you want to make sure you get that balance. And that's another reason too that I do like to use my Tombow glue, because it allows that movement when you're putting it on the card, but you want to be careful when you're using Tombow glue and not get big globs of it. A little bit goes a long way, so make sure that you use it with a light touch and not squeeze too much out. So then we want to line this one up and make sure all the sides match. And I think that needs to, this is what I was talking about, having that couple of minutes to be able to move it, because it looks a little bit tight on this end, but I may have waited. Nope, there we go. Here we go, very pretty. Okay, so next we'll go ahead and get our scoring and prepping our base card. So let me pull out my trimmer here, because it'll make it a little bit easier than bring out the big scoreboard for this time. Okay, so we're going to score on horizontally and vertically on our 4 1/4. Okay, because remember our measurements on this is 8 1/2 by 8 1/2. Okay, so the center of that would be your 4 1/4. Make sure you're lined up both ends. Okay, then the next thing we have to do, and it doesn't matter which end as long as you get it from one end or the other, and I think what we'll do, because this one's closest to me, is come up here, and you want to, I want to make sure you're seeing this, you want to make sure the peak of your one corner is in here, and then if you look and just kind of, what I do is I kind of give it a little bit of a start, and see how I'm right there in the center where I want it to be. Okay, so then I just come down here and score it right there in the center. Okay, and then you're going to go to the opposite side. Let me get my scissors out. You're going to go to the opposite side of your score line. And I always have to think through this a second so that I make sure I cut it. It's the opposite. I have to envision my fold when I'm doing this. So let's go ahead and cut it right here, right into the score line. Ooh, getting a little bit off there. Okay, I think it'll be fine. So let's go ahead and do our scoring and make sure I got this right. Hopefully I did. Get my scoring tool out here. Just going to take this paper out for right now until we need it. And then let's go ahead and do this portion here. And then again, you want to do this one. And this one is going to be the portion that goes in the center. So I always like to kind of give it that. And then whenever your pieces come together to make the fold, this is what it's going to look like, because this is going to bend up and then your card will fold like so. Okay? So you can go ahead and burnish it all while we've got it here. Because I did make, because of all my layers, mine's probably a little bit thicker than I normally would make the card, but I wanted to be sure that we had it nice and firm as a card is, because it's really a sturdy one. So before we put on any of our pieces, we'll want to do, this is our front, this piece here, and this one I have the front, and the way you know it's the front is this is your fold in the center that comes over. So the opposite side of it, this is your back, and that's your front piece. So you want to make sure that you keep your pieces straight as you're adhering this around. Okay. All right, so let's put our So I went ahead and cut me a 4x4 piece here, and let's go ahead and just stamp it with some of the wheat. I think that would be pretty to accent it on before we glue it onto the back of the card. So let's go ahead and get this here and bring our scrap back over here so we can stamp off a little bit as we need to. And here's our soft suede. We're going to be using our soft suede for or wheat. I think that will be pretty. Okay, so what I'd like to do is do one of our, what's called the first generation stamp, or the first stamping there. And press that down, and then I want to come back with one there. And so that will make a beautiful area for us to be able to write our little greeting to whoever we're sending it to. All right, so let's go ahead and glue this onto the back side while we have it out. Okay, and this is the shimmery white, and I did cut it at 4 by 4. Okay, since we're not putting an extra layer. So that's our front side. So while we're at our front side, let's talk about the turkey that I have used. And I've used that one out of this stamp set here, Birds of a Feather. This one here, I just absolutely love this one. I posted a card not long ago with this one on it. And so I'll make one for Christmas as well. But I went ahead and used the layering oval dies, and I cut a scallop piece, and I'll leave the measurements of which ones it was, so you'll know the ones I'm using for both. Then I stamped my turkey onto a scrap of Whisper White, and the colors that I used for my turkey was the light and dark peacock, which is what I used in here. I used the DSP out that we need, and we need it to be 4 by 2 inches to go in that mid area. So let's go ahead and cut me a strip of the 4 inches. And then we need 2 inches. And we need another 2 inches here. All right, and then that'll be used for another time. Okay, set that aside. The DSP, just like we did at the front of our card, okay? So let's go ahead and adhere those 2 pieces on. All right, so now we're ready to start working on our mechanism here. And this mechanism, you're going to want to be able to score it. This is 3 inches by 1.5 inches, so we're going to score it at 1.5 inches for the center of it. And then I want to score it at 1/2 inch, so I'm just going to line it up here to the 1/2 inch on this side here and score it. Okay, so this gives us, as you can see, the score line there, and then a score line across this way. And what I will do is to angle my tabs there. We're going to cut it in the center. Okay. And then let's go ahead and from the center, let's go ahead and cut a good little triangle out there. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side and on this side here. Okay. And they don't have to be exact. You just want your mechanism to work. And if you find when you go to put it on here, and this is where we're going to be putting it, if it doesn't want to, if it doesn't go in as far as you'd like it to go in, then you can trim those edges down. But that looks about good right for me there. So I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive on these tabs here. And I'm centering it. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to keep it in the camera here, but I'm centering it on that fold line for both sides. Okay, there we go. Make sure that adheres good before we fold or do anything more to it. Okay, we have a piece here. Let's go ahead and set that off and let it dry. But you can see how the mechanism will work now, and you can fold that down. So there we go. Let's go ahead and leave that there. Now I've got this piece, and this particular piece is a little bit larger than I really wanted it to be. And it measures about 4 1/4 by, say, 2 1/4 inches. But what we're going to do is, as you can see on this one, I kind of trimmed it to fit closer up to the mechanism. And so what I'm going to do this time, I tore it on the top last time and then had to trim it when I put this piece on. I'm going to try tearing it the size this is, so it'll be torn all around the edges. Pumpkin there. So let's go ahead and do some of our tearing now that I was wanting to do. And I always tear and get it started. And again, this is the shimmery white, so it's a little bit thicker and stiffer than your normal cardstock. And it works great for items like this that you're needing to have a good sturdiness with, because it's a mechanism card. Here again, I'm going to bring this over, and I'm tearing, always tear towards you if you want to get that pretty tear edging on there like so. Cute card as well. All right, so here we go, and I'm just going to fold this up, and bring this one over, and there is our pop-up corner card. Again, thank you for stopping by, and be sure and click on to the next Glitter Queen so that you get to see all of the different projects that were made for this month. Until next time, God bless and happy creating.